Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fukit podcast. So I guess this is a good opportunity for anyone new who's joining us, just to stop for a moment and remind ourselves, why the fuck are we doing this? Why are we doing the Fukit podcast? And it's a good question, but I'd say that for me, what comes intuitively this morning is this want and need to bring a truth, sincerity, honesty, integrity, and an openness to the world, and to show up the way I believe I want to show up, and hopefully to create ripples of this, because I feel that I've put on so many masks for so long in my life, and just when I remove them and when people around me remove them and just share what really is, that brings a much deeper sense of closeness and intimacy between us. What about you?
That's beautiful. I just wanted to welcome anyone that hasn't listened to previous episode and just share that we're here to be with what is and bring, like you said, what's alive in us right now, and share our own processes in hope that they can support not only us, because they support us massively, just processing together, speaking out loud what is going on with us. And my intention is that I hope that what I'm going through will support other people on their journey, whatever they're up to now. And this is my intention, to connect and create a community of people who are there for each other and are open and able to share their truth. So this is also the way I see it.
Also very beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, love.
And now that I've said that, I want to bring something that I guess I'm a bit embarrassed to share, but this is all beautiful, and maybe I am living that way, but another thing that we want to bring, which I feel that I've been kind of a fraud lately, is the fuck it mindset. So yes, I bring the fuck it mindset in different ways, but I feel that in the past few months, I've kind of been really stuck with myself, feeling like I talk about the fuck it mindset, but I'm not fully living it. And mainly around one specific area, which is putting myself out there. And so, like, I've been wanting to become a coach for a long time, and I keep postponing it and procrastinating and taking one step forward and then 10 steps back. And part of the fuck it mindset is like, just do it. What's the worst that can happen? Like, start and jump in the water. And I think that connects me to another reason why I want to record and do these episodes, because it creates small movement in a place that was fully stagnant. And another reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to talk about your process, because I'm seeing you in the past few months, and obviously it's small steps each time, but looking back these past 4 months, 5 months in Bali, where we decided to step away from the craziness of Kopangan for a while and focus and really allow time for both of us, but mainly you, to build your business and put yourself out there. And it's just been so beautiful and inspiring to see your growth. And it's a reminder, because there have been many moments, obviously, of like, oh, nothing is working and it's not moving at the pace that you want. But looking back, you have 3 clients that you're working with, and you have this women's workshop, or I don't know, you can talk about it more in a moment, that you're launching, and it's mind blowing. It's going from, I think sometimes you said, oh, but it's only 3 clients, but it's only this. Yeah, but 6 months ago there was 0, there was minus. And so it's like, it's thousands of percentages of growth that you've done, and it's fucking courageous and brave, and yeah, I'm jealous of that, and I want to hear more about your process. And mainly, I'd say, for me, for people who feel stuck, who feel a calling but just can't make that step, that leap, what has helped you to get unstuck? Because you were stuck for a long time.
Yeah, I was very stuck before. And I feel like before we jump into that, first of all, thank you for sharing. And I know it's also vulnerable for you to share, because maybe it's bringing some shame and guilt for not doing the things that you want to do. And I look at you from the side and I see how much pressure it creates on you when you have something that you want to do, but you're not able to move and create and do anything about it. So I see also the struggle, and it was a big reflection also to see you from the side, knowing that I've been through that so many times in my life, and I know exactly what you're going through and the pain of not being able to do what you want to do. And you've mentioned before that you said something about the Fukit mindset, so maybe I want to ask you a bit more about it. Like, you said jump into the water, but what is it for you, and why is it important to you to be in a Fukit? Why do you think that's a way to do things?
I mean, I know from many times in my past where, even it's not small, but something like approaching someone that you're interested in, whether it's a girl you want to hit on, whether it's someone who's inspiring to you and they're, a bit more well known, and there's this moment where if you just approach, you make that approach, then the fear is, let's say, 4 or 5. Okay, but the more you wait, like every second that passes, the fear gets bigger, and there are more stories and reasons why not to do it. And so that's one of the big things. And then there's also just, most of my life, not most of my life, but for a large period of my life, most of my life, I really, I took so much into account what people thought of me and what society, and we've spoken about this a lot, how I'm supposed to be in society, what I need to do in order to be successful, in order to be a good person, in order to be well accepted. And part of the fucking mindset is saying, fuck it, like, I don't need to abide by these rules. I don't need to be something specific that others think of me. And it's really going deep internally and understanding, who am I? Who am I really? What do I really want to bring to this world from a very deep and high sense of self and purpose? And not, again, to what I believe people are expecting of me.
Okay. And knowing that this is what's important to you, I guess I want to ask then, why do you feel like you're a fraud right now? Because you're living the life that is outside of what you used to do, what society expects you to do. You're a person with a lot of principles and you do things your way. You've learned how to put on boundaries on things you like and don't like. So I'm curious to know, where is this coming from?
So that's what I said. I said that in many ways I do live by the fuck it lifestyle. But in one specific area I feel this fraudulent. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like it's something like, if I'm sitting with someone and they're, they're feeling stuck, so just like, just do it. But there's something deep inside of me that's holding me back. And I even started I haven't been to therapy in a long time, and I started going to therapy, and I just feel it's something called the internal family system, where you really start seeing all the different parts inside of you, and you are kind of seeing them as little children, and seeing how we have different contradicting parts inside of us. So on one hand, I feel like, yes, this is my calling. I feel it. I feel it in my body. I want to help people. I want to be out there. I want to bring from all of my experience and wisdom that I've learned over the years, and speak to someone who's maybe 5, 10, 2 years behind, and I can give them a hand and say, hey, it's not that scary, right? And then on the other hand, there's this part inside of me that is just scared shitless. And they contradict each other, and it's saying, don't go out there, don't do it, because of fear. Many different fears.
What's the fear?
There's the fear of rejection. There's fear of failure. So, if people don't show up. There's fear if I write a post and no one likes it. And then there's fear of success. There's the fear of, I have my job now, and it's a lot of energy, even though it's a part-time job. And then now the fear of success is like, wow, I'm going to have clients and I have to fit them in. And then there's less freedom to my time. So that contradicts with another part of me, which is my sense of freedom. And one of the big reasons we left home and we lived this lifestyle, so that I can do things that I want to do, which are not just work. And so in this therapy session, I was really able to, like, the last session was really seeing. So the idea is to take one part at a time, say like, thank you to the other parts. I see you. I'm not rejecting you, but I'm setting you aside, so that right now I can give space to the fear, and not to the voice that's saying, oh, come on, just do it, don't be afraid. No. And really being with that. And I saw that it's really alive. And I didn't get to the full reason, right? These fears. And I've done many things in the past that I was afraid of, and I've jumped in the water, and
like
I've
what?
done like we've talked about these things, but going to special forces unit in the army, like leaving Israel and going to India, that was really scary for me. Staying in India during COVID, getting into architecture school when I didn't know anything about architecture.
And so what made you do it if you were so scared of rejection, like of all these fears that you just brought up?
I think, yeah, so for me there needs to be some, like a counterpart. So back then it was this need and want to be successful and to be rich. Those were two big drivers for me. I wanted to go to school with prestige. I wanted to be in a unit with prestige. I wanted people to view me like someone who's successful and strong and knows. And over time, like we've discussed in the past, I've became depressed. And so these drivers I set aside, and I was like, no, now what's important to me in life is not the success and money. It's my free time. It's my inner world. It's finding time to meditate, walking in nature, not being in that crazy busy life. And so I've kind of lost, for me, this part of me that, like, okay, what's my motivation? What's the driver? And so I used to think that, okay, just helping people is enough. But I see that it's not enough. And then I guess I feel shame and embarrassment that it's not enough. There are people out there they help people for no money, and they do it, but
sorry. So thank you for sharing, and I hope it's okay we're doing this, but I think it's a great example to show the process of how we reconnect with clarity and what we want. And it's also the things I'm talking about right now with the women I work with, and with the process I'm doing on myself, which is actually everything I'm teaching right now is based on these principles of this lifestyle, the things we're talking about. Because what I'm sharing in the workshop is exactly our process. Of course, we had different processes and we're different people, but it was the process of how do you go from one place where your life is going to one direction and then you want something else, and how do you do that? How do you cross that bridge to the thing you want? And you're talking about, I'm not sure I know what I want. So I would argue with that, and I would say, okay, maybe helping people is not the biggest motivation, but what do you really want? Say it out loud, own it, like really give yourself permission to say what you want. And I think there is a fear around saying what we want because we fear that it will not happen, we'll get disappointed, we'll get rejected. We already think in our mind of all the reasons why not to do it. But I'm not even talking about doing it, I'm talking about allowing yourself to say out loud what you want. And I think you said it briefly, which is...
What?
What do you want?
I don't know.
I think you know. And if you think you don't know, then I will tell you, look for the breadcrumbs. And the breadcrumbs are the moments where you're jealous of someone else, is the moments where you're daydreaming about something and you're seeing, like you have moments where you're like, oh, if I had that, I would feel this. And these are your desires. These are things you want.
Maybe, I mean, maybe I'm saying I don't know because I feel embarrassed to say them, but
exactly,
because they're not like this philanthropic, like beautiful, oh yeah, I just want to help people and I just want to, you know, I even see like we had a conversation the other day. We have a good friend of ours. She's our neighbor, and she broke her leg, and she's been in like at home for months, and she needed help from her friends, from all of us. And I saw how that takes a toll on me, and how I'm like, I want to be this person who's just like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll help you and do all these chores and everything. But I saw how like it's annoying for me, and I had to find the ways that I can help her in a way that that work for me, because I want to be like this person who's, oh yeah, I'm just motivated by helping people. Like I want to help people, and that's going to drive me, and that's why I'm going to do the coaching. But if I look underneath, it's more of these selfish things of, I want to create a lifestyle where I'm not dependent on a job or someone. I want to create this income that is based on things that I'm good at and that I enjoy doing, but it allows me the freedom to work online and travel and to be successful in that sense. And success to me is that I have enough income for financial freedom, so I'm not feeling stressed. Like I feel this constant stress of bringing money home. And I don't know if I'm going to lose my job because my job is flaky, and I want this sense of security for us.
There you go. There you go. Say the truth. Say it to yourself. And of course, now we're not doing a session, so I'm jumping a few steps where we look at why we're afraid to say what we really want. And where are we coming from? Why do we have so much shame and guilt for the things that we want? And it goes back to where we were 6 years ago when I wanted to live abroad and have a life where I have freedom of sexuality, freedom of time, freedom of choice. I felt trapped in my life and I couldn't figure out how to get out, and I felt a lot of shame and guilt for wanting the things that I want. But this is step one, is admitting to ourselves out loud what we want. And you said it very clearly, what you want for your life. And I think this is such an important step of clearing all the shame and guilt for the things that we want.
But it feels wrong. It feels wrong because it's like, okay, if I go work in finance, then that's okay to want money and do that job. But if I'm going to be a coach or a therapist, it needs to come from this pure place of giving and helping.
Amazing. So here we are working, and this is the work that I've been doing for the past 6 months, is working on my limiting belief. Because you have a belief that getting money for something that you're good at, which is helping people, guiding them, supporting them, is not pure. You have an idea about how it's right or wrong to make money. And this belief is blocking you from your ability to tap into your calling and your power. And again, I'm putting a huge disclaimer here that I'm allowing myself to speak to you the way I do because I know you well. And this is the process that I've been through of what are the beliefs that are blocking me from creating the life I want for myself. And I switched my belief to I'm the best version of myself when I feel good. And when I can make money from the things that I'm good at, I can be in better service because I've experienced myself making money in other ways. And it, first of all, it didn't feel good for me. And second of all, I wasn't serving in the best way. And I truly believe now, and I've fully embraced the belief that making money from something that I enjoy and I like is great. And this is the base for huge expansion. I can be much more generous with who I am because I'm taking care of my needs. And I know that I'm responsible to create the life I want for myself. So I have a choice here. Do I want to keep living a life for someone else's beliefs that the only way to help people is by not taking money for it? Or can I create a life where I can do both? What if we can replace belief systems and say, instead of I need to choose either or, I will choose which belief serves what I want. If I want to create stability in my life, because I know that when I'm stable financially, I can be so much more relaxed and I can be so much more focused on my clients because I don't need to take another 10 jobs to support the thing I love to do the most, which is helping my clients grow and step into their power and feel like they can create their life for themselves. And when they feel it from me, from my energy, when I'm fully tapped into the energy of I am the creator of my life, I am responsible for everything and I can create what I want. When I'm tapped into this energy, my clients start to tap into their own energy. And that's why it's so beautiful to do what's right for us. It's always the right thing. This is my opinion and I will sign my name on it. That the first step is to take care of ourselves. And when we take care of ourselves, we can make other people around us much happier. And when I think of people around me, when I think of my mother, when I think of the kind of mother I want to be for my children, I want my children to see that I was able to take care of my needs. And that's why I'm able also to be with them, because I created a life that supports me, that I don't need to run around to create the life level that I want, that is required for my well-being. And for each person, it's different. Some people that we know will never live the life we're living. It's not what they want. They want much more money. They want much more stability. They want other things in their life. And they created the life they wanted for themselves. Is that right? Is that wrong? Each person has its own desires. I'm asking you, and I'm asking people who are feeling like there's a gap, why is that gap? And being honest with yourself of why do you think there's a gap in your life and how can you minimize it, and realizing that
What's the gap?
The gap between what you want and your reality.
Yeah.
If you're in alignment, if you're fucking waking up every morning and going to the office with joy, I am so for it. I have an uncle that he's a lawyer and he loves it. That's what he did. He did from day one since he left since he finished his school. He loves it.
Yeah, no, that's not the case, because I wake up every morning and I feel something's missing.
Exactly.
I feel that if I died today, I didn't fulfill my potential.
That's painful.
It is. It's painful, and so many times pain or the fear of missing out, can be a driver.
Yeah.
But for me, that's also not enough. And so what happened, and you were talking before about the stuckness, and it's really, I want to stop for a moment and talk about that feeling, because what happened in reality was that I feel this for a long time now. Mm-hmm. Again, embarrassed to say, maybe in 2 years, where I know the direction I want. I don't know my niche exactly, like a lot of coaches. You have to find your niche, you have to da-da-da, but I haven't managed to take the first step. And looking back, you were also stuck for a long time, for years. But now I'm in this reality where I see you taking huge steps. I said small steps before, but it's, compared to it. And I'm still stuck. So it's like when you're sitting in one place and there's a car next to you, right, moving, you feel like you're moving backwards. And so, and then what was happening is that every morning I'm waking up and I'm kind of like whipping myself and saying, look, you know what you need to do, but you're not doing it, you loser. Those voices coming up, and what's wrong with you? And then I think I became, like I said, what's it called? Functional depression for the past 2 months, where I was just feeling really low, this numbness, and then I meditated one day, and what came up was, don't do it. Mm-hmm. And then it was like either reverse psychology, I'll tell myself not to do it and then that will give me a drive, or I just release myself from this pressure because I'm not taking the steps, it's not happening, and then I'm just feeling really shitty about it. So I might as well just decide not to do it for now and see why that is. Why am I not doing it? And then we had a conversation 2 days later where I think I was still feeling after this meditation like I still need to provide, I want to make you proud, I want to make myself proud, I want to, every day that passes, I'm feeling more shitty with myself. And I guess you heard me and you said, what if you just let go of it right now? And that released something, something shifted since, and you've been telling me my energy is back, and because it's really that place, sometimes we're just stuck. We don't know 100% why, and we need to allow ourselves to be in that stuckness and not push, because what energy am I bringing if I'm just pushing? And if I'm not in a good place right now, how can I really be there for others? Yesterday, I think I'm starting to touch. There are many reasons, like I said, the fear, but more root. Yesterday, we didn't talk about it yet, but I hadn't really managed to cry in a long time, a proper cry. And yesterday, I just felt so stuck, and I ended up weeping for 30 minutes. I was in bed just really with sounds, and there are so many things to cry about, obviously, but there are two big things that I don't manage to really touch upon. There's one thing, a big family trauma that's come up in the last few years, which I can't go into, and then there's the societal or collective trauma that's happening now back at home, this war, and it's happening in many places in the world, and there's so much suffering, and there are people that are held captive, hostages, and people dying, so many people dying on both sides, and it's horrible. But I think one of the reasons I don't open the news much, because I don't want to see this stuff, so I'm able to kind of repress. and not touch upon it, but it's there. And my body started speaking. Like I've had, like, in that past 2 days, I had weird migraines that I never had. Some of my itchiness, my skin was coming back, and I felt like many times like itchiness in my eyes. Anyway, and I was able to really touch and really, like, it comes in these moments for me, and really touch the pain and the suffering that so many people are going through. And also for myself, like the fear that I might not have a home to go back to, we might not have a home to go back to in a few months, years. I don't know where it's going. It's these really deep fears, ungrounding fears that are underlying. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but just to say that sometimes there are big things in our life that are holding us back, and
that's the point.
And it's okay to pause with a lot of compassion and slow down, because I think that this is kind of the mindset that we kind of walked away from, which is push no matter what, go, capitalist, just work, and then people, put so many band-aids, take pills, antidepressants, and social media, and so many things, I don't know, parties, drugs, and all these things just to numb these things underlying.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think I've disconnected from those things, and I want to bring it back, like that sense of, okay, that go-getter.
Yeah.
And I'm not able to connect with that yet.
No, I have a lot of things to say. I think I will start by saying that exactly this. When we're feeling stuck, and we have a reason why we're stuck. We have a reason why our nervous system is not ready to cooperate with us, and it doesn't want to get us out of where we are right now. It's trying to protect us. And our mind, our brain wants to keep us safe. That's the number one reason why we're doing the things we're doing, to keep us safe. So when you're starting to think of change and wanting to change yourself and create new things, you need to be grounded in yourself in order to do it, because you are going to step out of your comfort zone. It's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be totally vulnerable. You're exposed. You don't know. You need to learn everything. Like, you need a strong mindset in order to do that. So, and why am I saying that? Because in some moments, we need to honor where we're at. And I completely agree with you. There are some moments where we're not ready to create the change, the life we want for ourselves. And if we're trying to push ourselves and put ourselves down and hope that through putting myself down and, like you said, whipping and being harsh on myself, I will make progress, that just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. So that's where accepting where we are sometimes is the best thing we could do, because we can't force it. We can't force it. And I see it on clients. Like, you need to be ready to do the work. I can't pull you. Even if I really want you to succeed and I want what you want and I want to be there for you to help you move forward, you need to want it for yourself and you need to be ready for it. So we need to also be aware of where we're at right now. Do I need some more deep healing right now? Maybe this is where I'm at. I've had so many things happening in my life and I need to heal those parts. And healing doesn't come from harshness. It comes from compassion and love and kindness. And this is why I was able to make this shift, because I've been spending the past 5 years working on myself and on my healing. So I was allowing myself to be stuck for a very long time. I was allowing myself to not make any progress. And 8 months ago, and we talked about it in one of the episodes, I couldn't do anything. Yes, I was overwhelmed by the world, by the situation, by my home country, by the deep fear. And I was paralyzed, and I couldn't force myself to not feel it. It doesn't work this way. So I really honor times where we just can't do it. And there's always a price and a gain for each situations that we're having in our lives. So it's asking ourselves, what is the gain in not doing what I want to do? And what is the price I'm paying? And at some point you will hit the honest truth is that you want more. And that's where you can start implementing actions, where you're ready to own what you want and say, this is what I want, and I know I'm going now for a journey of going towards what I want. It's not going to happen overnight. And everything was starting to shift for me when I embraced that reality, that change is not going to come in one day. I'm not going to wake up one day and I'm going to have clients and the business I want, but I'm ready to be exposed and vulnerable because I really want it. I really, really want it. This is what I've been wanting to do for the past 8 years, and I'm finally ready to own my desire and follow through. And following through means that I need to embrace new realities and new beliefs for myself. And the one belief that I embraced was 1% every day. 1% better every day. Because I can't put the pressure on myself to do 100% every day. Because that is not respecting the healing process I've done. So the way I work is very, very different than how I used to work 5 years ago. Some days I have full energy and I can work for a few hours, and some days I can't work. And I've learned to respect it. I also embrace that slowing down is the best way to move forward. So I'm not pushing myself to create. I'm finding the balance between when I need deadlines in order to create and when am I slowing down and nourishing myself and taking care of myself, because what I'm creating now is part of my life. It's not separate. I don't want to create a life where I'm going to work. I want my work to be part of who I am. So in the process I'm going through right now with building my mentoring business, it's stepping into who I am and becoming myself more and more in the process. I'm not trying to create a different person that is going to work like I used to be. And that way, work is not something that I don't like. I'm doing something that I love. I love working with women. I just love it. And I love to create content, and I love to create opportunities for people to reconnect with themselves and feel alive and feel full and feel compassion and love towards themselves. And this is the base of it. Is not through when I talk to a client and she tells me something that happened. So we talk a bit from the mind of what can be done differently. But then we have to come back to the heart and to the place where we see ourselves with love and compassion. And we say, I want to be better because I want it for myself, because I want more, but I'm not going to do it on the expense of how I treat myself and how I talk to myself in this process. So every time we're going to go back to, like, do I love myself? Am I making sure that in this process, all my parts are being met? Not only the parts that are pushing me forward and they see me 10 years from now being a successful entrepreneur with all the money. It's like, can we embrace also the part of us that is extremely scared right now? Can we slow down and be like, hey, what's going on with you? With the part that doesn't want to move? How can I support you? And that's why in my process, I also do work with business mentors where they are teaching me so many things on how to build my business, but I still have one-on-one sessions with my healer where we go into my being, my nervous system, because I recognize the gaps many times where I'm trying to push towards like, yes, I'm gonna be, you know, all these things we see on YouTube, like imagine yourself, like your higher self, like your next version, like start moving towards your future, not coming from your past. And it's great, but it's like if you don't embrace the parts that are scared, there's gonna be a gap in your nervous system, and you're not gonna be able to hold, you're not gonna have the capacity to hold what you're trying to become. So let's say I want to become a successful entrepreneur and I want to make 10K a month, but there's a part of me that is so scared. There's going to be such a big gap that the part that is scared is not going to move with me. So I need to slow down and be with that part and embody it and give it space and do the somatic work so I can expand. So the work constantly is about moving forward, but also making sure I'm taking care of everything so I can expand myself. You get what I'm saying?
That's huge. No, that sentence, it was huge. Like, you need to build the capacity to be able to hold the, I don't know what the word is, the greatness of who I am or becoming.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I wanna, you know, be the guy that can lift the huge weights above my head, right? Like, I don't know, 100 kilos they do in the Olympics. But I have to build to there. I have to build the strength in my core and my legs and in my back and my arms. And so, because I was thinking beforehand, you were saying about how you love working with women, how you love what you're doing. This is not new to you. You knew this 6 years ago. Yeah. You knew this 10 years ago. Yeah. But there was a stuckness for a reason, and you had to give that space. And so that brings me towards, you know, again, back to the place where I want to bring also some compassion towards myself, because a reminder that we're also a team. And so we've made this decision kind of together, and I understand how much energy my job takes for me, how much energy supporting you and being there and seeing your ups and downs, and like how sometimes it's right as a couple not to be full power steam ahead. You know, I am now making sure that we have a steady income from my job while you're building your business, and then once things are more stable, then I'll have more, you know, openness and air to bring energy and drive energy towards that. I also don't want to be fully stagnant though. So I want to ask you also, because we're nearing towards the end. So I want to ask like some practical tips that you have for people like me, for other people who might be feeling stuck, how to get unstuck, but slowly. And like one thing that I have, which I am trying to do, so I was, you know, posting things on Instagram for a while, and then I stopped for a long time, and I've also been feeling like waking up like, but I have videos that I have ready to share. And so taking those small, easy, they're not easy, but they're the easiest steps to create some movement. And that is also why, you know, doing this podcast, it's not easy. We had like 1 hour of preparation before. We have to bring a lot of energy, our mindset. We have to be focused. I see podcasts like every week they have an episode. Like I'm not there. And so even doing this once and whenever I feel ready to do it, it's creating movement. And posting one video a week or uploading one episode a month every 2 months is more than doing nothing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I want to hear any practical, maybe 2 practical things that you have that helped you. Like taking that first step, creating that first movement, right? Because someone who's not a coach saying like, oh, I need to be a coach, like that's a huge gap. Yeah. That's too scary.
Yeah, that's too scary. So it's building, and I call it building a home within yourself. It's building a place where you can feel at home. You're building a foundation in which you will be able to do the things that you want. Because without that home, you're completely exposed. You're in the field, in the middle of everything. So you need to build a home that you can decide where you want to step out of it, where you want to stay in and rest. When do you want to scream and be lazy and ugly and not shower for 4 days if that's what you want? And when do you want to have friends over at your home? Because you have a door there and you have boundaries and you can decide what you want to do. And I'm saying this because this is the foundation of everything. This is the foundation that allows you to create the life you want for yourself. And without that foundation, it's going to be much more energy to try to create things. So when I speak about building a home within yourself, it's like, how can you make sure that you're taking care of yourself in order to create the life you want for yourself? So how can you make sure, first of all, on the most like practical level, that you wake up feeling good every day? This is step number one. And without it, you won't have the energy to do anything. So building the foundation for that, and on a practical level, it's journaling.
Like having a morning routine.
Yeah, like, and it's not, and I say morning routine that works for you. Yeah. For you, not the one that you wrote, that you saw in a book, that you're like, this is what I need to be doing, I should be doing, and then you create again this guilt when you're not doing it. It's like, what would make me really happy in the morning? What could be like a 30-minute time ritual that will help me wake up in the morning feeling like I love myself no matter what I do today? For me, that was journaling, it was meditation, it was grounding myself, it was going to sit on the grass outside, it's drinking water, it's listening to music and sometimes moving my body. And my routine changed over time because I was trying to be so rigid and trying to create a routine of a successful person that it was creating more pressure, and then like I didn't want to do it. So it's like, how can you do it in a way that feels good for you? And what kind of new, and this is practical, but it's more like a mind thing of what kind of new beliefs can support you in the process. So for me, the 1% every day was a belief that was really supportive and was giving me space of, oh, I'm going on a journey. I don't need everything done right now. This helps. I did one thing today to walk towards what I want. That helps.
Okay. And second thing?
That was the second thing.
Oh, so, okay.
Build.
So what were the, say in,
so
what was
build,
the first one?
Build a routine, a ritual that makes you feel good.
Okay. And two?
To embrace a belief that is supportive to where you are right now.
Okay.
3 would be celebrate the little things. This is huge. I know it sounds so cliche, but it works. It really works. Like, celebrate each day the little steps you took. Like, what are the 3 things you can celebrate today about yourself? Some days, the only celebration is that I woke up and I'm alive, talking about everything we just talked about. That's a huge celebration. Did I write a note today on ideas I have for content? I celebrate it. Did I eat well today and took care of my body? I celebrate it. And all the time, we're working towards like building something that works for you.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I want to, just before we end, say that I feel very exposed. I feel like that for me, it's very vulnerable to admit that I'm stuck, to admit that I'm not living up to my potential, to admit that I know where I want to go and I'm frozen. And this fear that people will hear this episode, like potential clients, when I do want to put myself out there, and they'll be like, oh, he's weak. And that's exactly despite the fear and the embarrassment is why I want to bring that, because that's how I want to live up to this Fukit lifestyle, which is bringing this integrity, bringing this truth, because my guess is that there are other people who at different periods of their lifetime feel stuck and like me want to hide it. And like me want to show that everything is great and I know what I'm doing and I know where I'm going and I'm strong, where underneath I'm walking around with this feeling of being fraud, and bring compassion to that. And yeah, if I lose potential clients because of that, then so be it. But this is who I am. And so on that note, thank you for joining us for another episode. Thank you for listening in. Wow.
Thank you. Yes, and if this episode resonated with you on what you're going through, either if you're feeling stuck right now or you shifted from stuckness and you want to share with us your experience, we would
love to hear from you.
Yes, we would love to hear how you do it, how that works for you. Share it. Be generous with your process. I'm sure many people can learn from it.
Yes. And we love you and wish you a beautiful day and wish peace in this world, and that all wars will end and people can just live in a loving, beautiful way, compassionate, see each other for who they truly are, humans, and we're all just the same.
Yes.
So,
Amen.
yeah.